Hello everyone, this is Surya and welcome to Be a Geek. In today's video, we are going to learn about Java data types. And in Java, we have 8 types of primitive data type. So we have char, boolean, byte, short, int, long, float, and double. Float and double are used to store our decimal values. Boolean is used to store true or false. Character is used to store characters like a letter or symbol. Byte, short, int, and long are used to store number. So for this exercise, we will work with the primitive used to hold integer values byte, short, int, and long. A byte is an 8-bit signed integer. A short is a 16-bit signed integer. An int is 32-bit signed integer, and a long is 64-bit signed integer. So what is the means of this? So for byte, we use 8-bit to store a number. Let's say in binary, I want to store 127. How we will write that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7. So this is 127 in binary. And a byte is used to store 8-bit signed integer. So the first bit of any binary is used to denote the sign. If the value of that byte is 0, so means it is a positive number. Otherwise, if the byte is 1, then it is a negative. So for integer, we're gonna have 1 here. And as you can see, using these 8 bits, we can represent 127. And if I reverse them to make a negative number, so I will write it like this, which will represent a negative 128. So these 8 bits can be used to represent 127 and minus 128. So a byte can store the value between minus 128 to 127. I don't want to get into this how I get 128 and how I get 127, because it is a basic binary. And if you do not know about this, I think you should learn about this, how these things work. So a byte can store a value between minus 128 to 127. Same for short. We have 16-bit. For int we have 32-bit, and for long we have 64-bit. Given an input integer, you must determine which primitive data type are capable of properly storing that input. To get you started, a portion of the solution is provided for you in the editor. For reference, I think we can go to this site. Okay, here what we have, let me try to zoom it once. Okay, as you can see from there, for byte, it has a minimum value of minus 128 and a maximum value of 127 inclusive. For short, it has a minimum value of minus 32,768 and the maximum value of 32,767. And for int, we have minus 2 to the power 31 and maximum value of 2 to the power 31 minus 1. And for long, we have minus 2 to the power 63 and a maximum value of 2 to the power 63 minus 1. So these values, these minus 128, 127, these values are most important, because using these values we will solve our question. I will get back to these values, but for now let's read our problem. Now our input format. The first line contains an integer t denoting the number of test cases. Each test case t is comprised of a single line with an integer n, which can be arbitrarily large or small. So according to this line, we will gonna have an integer in our input which can be large or small, and we're gonna use this line to solve our question. After that, we have our output format. For each input variable n and appropriate primitive data type, you must determine if the given primitive are capable of storing it. If yes, then print n can be fitted in asterisk data type. So we have to print the name of the data type which can store the value n. If there is more than one appropriate data type, print each one on its own line and order them by size, byte, short, int, and long. If the number cannot be stored in one of the four aforementioned primitive, print the line and cannot be fitted anywhere. So this is gonna be our output format, and we have a simple input. Here 5 is the value of t, and after that we will have some integers minus 150, 1,50,000, and so on. So for minus 150 can be fitted in short, int, or long. Here we do not have byte because the range of byte is minus 128 to 127. So our minus 150 cannot be stored in byte. That's why we do not have there. Also 1,50,000 cannot be stored in short. So here we do not have byte or short. And let's say this value, this is a pretty large value, and this value cannot be fitted anywhere. After that we have a negative value which can be stored in long. So from all this we can conclude that the maximum value of an integer we can store in long. So if I have an integer, I can store it into long, and if it cannot be stored into long, we can print that it cannot be fitted anywhere. So we're going to use this into our solution. So let's go to our code editor and see how these things, how we can get this output. Let's go to our IntelliJ and create a class by the name solution. And here we're gonna have our main function, public static void main. And first we have to take an input t, where we have to store the number of values which we're gonna input. So for that we have to create a scanner. Let's say our scanner is SC and new scanner, and here we will have system dot in. We have to take input t, in t is equals to sc dot next int, and after that we have to run a loop to input all the values. So for that, let's say I have an integer I, int I is equals to 0, and the value of I go till t, and I will increase I one by one, and inside this block I will write my code. Now I have to take an integer as input, and I have a data type long which can store every integer. So all of these inputs, the biggest is long, and if you see this statement from there, we're gonna have an integer. So our long can store any integer which the user will input, and in case of long cannot take input, in that case I have to print and cannot be fitted anywhere. Let's create a variable with long. Let's say n is equals to sc dot next long. So now if I am able to take input into n, I have to print n can be fitted in. So for that I will use this. So my n can be fitted in. Now I have to check condition where I can fit my n. First I have to check for byte, then short, then int, then. So for byte, if n is greater than is equals to minus 128 and n is less than is equals to 127, in that case I can say that my n can be fit in byte. So for that I have to print asterisk byte according to this. So let me print this asterisk byte. After that I have to check it for short. So for short I will put another condition, if n is greater than is equals to, and I will get the value from there is minus 32, and n is less than is equals to 32,767. If this condition goes true, then I have to print asterisk short. Now I have to perform the same for integer and long. So let me copy this code and paste it over there. And what I can do, I can replace short with int over there, and then after that I can put long over there, and for long or int we have to change these values. And if we see over there, For integer, our minimum value is minus 2 to the power 31 and maximum is 2 to the power 31 minus 1. So what we can do, we can use a method which is available in main library, math.power, and here we have to give the value 2 to the power 31, and same we can do over there, but here we have to minus 1 from our value, and same we have to perform for our long, but in case of long our maximum value is 2 to the power 63 minus 1 and our minimum value is 2 to the power 63, which is negative. And if you see over there, we have to write 2 to the power 63, 2 to the power 63, and same we have to put over there 2 to the power 63 minus 1. Now our conditions for byte, short, int and long are completed. Let me just run this code to see what is happening and our value is printing correctly or not. So let me put 1 and let me try to put an long. So if you see this value can only be stored into long, and if I put a smaller value which can store into byte or something like let's say 12, so I can store 12 can be fitted in byte, short, int and long. But if you see this question, a value, a case where we have to print and cannot be fitted anywhere, we have to handle this situation. And for that, what we can do, if this is the case, we cannot store n anywhere, then our scanner which we use to take input will throw an exception. And let's say se.nextLong, if I see the implementation of nextLong, and if you see this doc over there, so our nextLong throw three type of exception, and first is input mismatch exception. This exception comes under when our input does not match what we are trying to get. Here we are trying to take next long, we are trying to take input for a long, but if I try to put a string over there, then it will throw a input mismatch exception. After that we have two more exception, illegal state exception, if this scanner is closed, and no such element exception if input is exhausted. So this exception, illegal state exception, if our scanner got closed, we will get this exception, and same if input is exhausted, we will get the no such element exception. Now if you see this problem, we are trying to take input for a long, but if a integer, let's say this cannot be fitted anywhere, so we cannot take input into a long, because the largest value of a number can only be stored into a long. So if we try to put a value which cannot be stored into long, then it will throw an exception. So we have to catch that exception, and then only we can implement and cannot be fitted anywhere. So let me try to show you. Let me put a value which cannot be fitted into a long, and if you see there, here we are getting an error which is of type input mismatch exception for input string. And if you see this, it is considering this value which we input as a string. So this is a string, and we are getting input mismatch exception because our scanner expecting a long, but we are not providing it. Now if we want to catch an exception, first we have to find out from where we can get our exception. So here next long can throw an exception. So this is our code block from where we can get an exception. So in case we have to put this code into a try block, so I will put this code under try block, and after that I have to catch this. So I will catch an exception, exception E, and after that in that block we will write our code where we will take the input for that string, because we have to print this value and after that cannot put it anywhere. So if our next long cannot able to input this string, then it will throw an exception because it is in the try block. After that we have to write a catch block. This exception will catch under this, and after that what will happen, we will take the input for this string. So what I will do, I will write a string, and then let's say it is s and it is next, it is sc dot next, and then after that we have to use s out. And what we're gonna do, we will first use s, and then after that we have to print cannot be fitted anywhere. So let's say I will put it over there, and this is our code. And for that also we have to put this code under curly braces. So our curly braces is missing over there. So this is our final code. Let me try to run this code again, and we will see. Let's say this is 1 and I have a value which cannot be fitted anywhere, and I will put it over there. So I will get this value cannot be fitted anywhere, and we have to put a space before can't. So this is our final code. So what is happening here? I tried to take input of this into long, but our next long cannot store a value which cannot satisfy this condition. So our next long will throw an exception of input mismatch exception, and then I put this block into try block. So from there, if any line of my code will throw any kind of exception, I will catch that exception under this block, because after try I have catch block, and in catch block I took the input which I am not able to took using next long. I will use next, take that input, and after that I will print s cannot be fitted anywhere. We will learn more about try and catch block, how exception work, but for now that's how our exception work. And here we use printf, so we have to use println over there. So let me put it println, and let me copy this code, and okay, control Z, control C, and let me put it over there and try to run my code. Okay, let's see everything is working fine or not. Let me try to submit this. Okay, our code is working properly. So this is our code for this question. And if you want to copy this code, there's a link in the description. You can go over there, and there's a website, and from there you can just copy our code and you can paste it over there to get the solution. And if I run this code is also working fine. Now if you understand the code, you can like this video, subscribe to our channel, and if you have any queries you can reach out to me on my Instagram and in the comment section below. In our next video we will solve another problem by the name Java end of file. So I think that's it for this video. Let's meet into the next video. Till then, thank you, take care, and bye bye.